Do you want me to talk about the test vote that you just put up?
Yeah, I can. Hello, everyone.
Should we do a roll call? So we're
You want to do the roll call first?
Yeah,
Okay,
test vote.
let's do the roll call.
Okay, Cavell,
Here.
Colwell,
Here.
McGillivray,
Here.
Howell, Charles,
Present.
Long,
Here.
Moss,
Here.
Markham,
Here,
Manitouri, have a quorum.
great, thank you. Okay, so we all have our new tablets, and Mike here wants to do a test vote on the agenda.
No, and actually, we had already prompted it just for your review, and you should see now that it's closed, and now we'll wait for the actual adoption of the agenda for the next test.
Okay, cool. So, I called the meeting to order. We had a roll call. Let's all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up, we have approval of the agenda. I need a motion.
How do we do that? Do we raise our hand on this?
Commissioner McGillivray, supported by Commissioner Charles. I have a question. If we're going to change up the budget hearings, do we need to do that as part of changing the agenda? Because we've had a department ask to postpone their hearing today. That's emergency management. They've got trouble brewing on the other side of the campus, and they asked if they could postpone till sometime next week. So do I need a motion for that, or they're in the budget hearing section of this?
Yeah, Madam Chair, you can certainly ask for a motion to amend, but you can also just go ahead and postpone that as chair. But you can absolutely, to have on the record, a motion to amend the agenda if you'd like.
Let's take a motion to amend the agenda. Commissioner McGillivray, supported by Commissioner Charles, to remove the emergency management review in the budget hearings. So you're going to put a vote up on the screen, or?
Yeah, let's try just first, so we know.
Okay, is there any discussion on that motion?
No,
Okay.
and then, so the vote has been prompted.
Okay,
So
And then you just hit save and it goes away, right?
so you'll just hit yes on your vote
Okay.
if you agree, and then save.
This is how you vote. You will vote, how you like to vote, and then save.
So
And Commissioner Moss, since your device isn't working right now, would you mind voting by voice?
break yours already.
No, I would not mind voting by voice.
How do you vote?
Can I do that too?
No.
So we can put your vote.
You gotta break your tablet to get away with that.
Did he break
do a
his
check
tablet already?
No, his password, he can't remember his password.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, what's your dog's name? Everybody knows your password.
Speak clearly into the mic when you do that too, Chuck. Make sure you say it into
the
the.
bottom and then an exclamation point. Come on, Chuck Moss. I know your password.
Here, put it in.
Ginger.
No, it's not Ginger.
Okay.
Ginger died like
I know, but that was your
Mike
favorite.
Tim is having a conniption right now because he sees this on the screen and he's like, "This is not safe. This is not safe."
Yeah, you can announce the motion passed.
all right.
He knows it too.
Okay.
So everybody voted to remove the,
Mine never came up. How do I get it to vote?
Okay.
How do you tell what it is they're voting on?
So right there, number 4,
Approval of agenda.
I guess I did vote. I didn't touch
it's up in
anything.
the upper corner, we're
Upper
approving
corner,
the
right
agenda.
there.
Third item, okay. It's just hard to read.
Leave it alone.
Nothing was displayed before.
Okay.
Okay, so the agenda has been approved.
Packet still.
Okay,
Okay.
so then this will always tell you what item you're on.
Okay,
So it is the approval of agenda,
I got
okay,
it. We did
and
this
now
at
they're
some
going
time.
to prompt to the next item.
yeah, we approved the agenda as amended, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
And so now the committee coordinator has prompted the next item, which is public comment.
Public comment.
okay. And now it's time for public comment. Commissioner Kowal, sorry.
Thank you. I know it's a little bit unusual for us to speak during public comment, but I have two things I'd like to address. First of all, I want to congratulate folks on moving to this other, it seems like once we get the hang of it, it'll be a better way to go and easier to make notes and so on and so forth. But I'm a little bit upset about the timing and the way it happened, because I couldn't access on our county webpage yesterday this agenda and packet. And that is about as transparent as mud as far as I'm concerned. So the timing was not good. My other issue is the mask mandate. And I don't know, I don't recall, maybe I missed it, but I don't recall receiving any word from the county health department or a PIO, as they call them now, that this was coming down. And I heard about it on the news, just like everybody else did. And I think that as commissioners, we should have at least been given the courtesy of a heads up that this was happening. That's it. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Commissioner Kowal. There was a PIO issued, but it was like yesterday afternoon, I think.
6 p.m.
That's when I got it.
I already saw it on the news.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, all right, thank you. Is there anybody else who wants to comment during public comment?
Yes.
Come on, come to a microphone at the end, please. State your name and where you live. And it's 3 minutes.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Catherine Kennedy. I'm from Lake Orion. And once again, I am concerned about the lack of transparency completely of this entire board. The meeting I attended yesterday, I still was never able to get any packet. I tried this morning, it's gone, completely gone. There isn't even a way to get yesterday's data, even though there were some very major proposals. I think it was over 800 pages long. Today, yes, I downloaded it, but the data itself doesn't link. It used to be where you could pick an item and it would link to take you to 350 page, whatever, wherever the item started. So you don't have to scroll through the entire document, which you wouldn't have time no matter what. And especially the lack of time in between the time things are thrown out on that webpage and the fact that you're in two different systems. So you don't even have, the standing committees do not even show up on the page that has been where the public goes to for over a year. It's gone.
Just to let you know your mics are muted.
Pardon?
No one can hear you from the Go to My PC.
I did not know that. Green light, so I don't know how to operate the technical equipment. I'm sorry about that.
It wasn't you.
So,
Yeah, it's
So was I muted?
It's on her end.
Audio.
No, you got
pressed the
picked up.
button
It's
and the
just
green light
that
turned
mic
on,
down
and now the
that
green
they
light's
had
on.
turned
so they turned me off. Gee, I got canceled again.
No, it
Go
was not
figure.
personal, Ms. Kennedy, I'm sure.
Well, I'll tell you, this council does not seem to consider the views of the citizens of this county. I'm actually appalled by the lack of consideration of citizens. I cannot believe that budget hearings on August 11th took place without so much as a single document being given to the public. That, if you look at the agenda, you had to go to page 2 after the line that said the meeting was adjourned to see a single entry that said the name of the department and a time. No link to any data, no link to any documents or any budget information for a budget hearing. How do you call that a budget hearing anyway? It's beyond me. It's incomprehensible to me. I worked in business. I'm not accustomed to this type of decision-making that's rash with no data, with no supporting explanation, and the fact that this is a public board that's supposed to be transparent when you seem to be doing the exact opposite deliberately is offensive beyond what I can even explain. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Okay. Is there any other public comment this morning? Seeing none, I will close the public comment section of the agenda. Next up, we have communications. I need a motion to receive and file. Commissioner Cavell, supported by Commissioner Long. Any discussion on the communications? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
All right, so we're waiting, right?
And then ask Commissioner Moss for his voice vote. Commissioner Moss, can we get a voice vote?
Yes. Gary's thing did not show up.
Okay. Let me come
Yep.
back. Oh, you got a couple different tabs over here, Commissioner.
Fool with it to go to the agenda.
It just went through yesterday.
I'm gonna let Ms. Dibbs make a statement here on how to do all this.
Okay, so you'll notice when the chair calls for any discussion, you'll notice at the bottom right of your screen, there is a request to speak, and that is the way that you request to speak, and a list will come up and show the order in which everyone has requested to speak. Once you are finished speaking, that button is now green. It will go to red when you have requested to speak. And when it's red and you're finished speaking, please hit it again so that it turns back to green. And that allows you to speak or to request to speak on the second round on the same item.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, so you have a vote for the current item, the
You can just vote
communications.
by voice for right now,
Oh,
that'd be good.
doing it again, because it came up again, right?
Yeah, I thought I already did this.
Commissioner Moss, your voice
That's the
vote.
one she had to fix it.
Yes. You want to vote right
No.
now? Are we taking a vote now?
Yes.
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 Yes,
And
we are.
you.
Commissioner,
Thank
you
you.
as well?
Yes.
Okay.
See, Gary, there you go. All you had to do was break it.
All right.
Nice.
I'm all for going back to that old system.
I will.
You can make a motion out of other business tonight.
I'm a no.
Oh, are you ready?
No, I'm saying to go back.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you'll get it.
Stones.
And you can announce that passed.
Motion passed.
Okay, everybody, that's all done?
Password rules.
So the communications have been passed, and next up, we have,
Yep, they got something else. I think the system does. Maybe it's about that. I thought this was down. Love it.
Set the current item.
Yeah, just gotta figure out the agenda item
And
now,
we can
right?
get that same app on our phone.
Okay.
Computers, this and
next
that.
item up is item, Commissioner Kowal, you had a question?
I'm sorry, I'm just flagging the Stranders.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right. Before we go on to the next agenda item, I just want to show you guys something that I found yesterday because, like Commissioner Kowal, I could not find the packets for the meetings I had today. So I was here and I said, where are the packets? They're not on that, meeting resources page on the web. But I'm just going to turn this around and show you that the top line there's a green bar.
Yes.
It says view the current meeting resources. So that takes us to the new system.
What's the URL on that? Is it BOC/?
Yeah, I think I did it.
The one that I'm at right now,
Yeah.
gov.com/BOC/committees,
Okay.
pages, resources.
Okay.
So, but at the very top of that, it says view the current meeting resources, because the only things that are on that page right now are, like coordinated zoning, we did not use the system today, so it's still on the old format. But everything that's using the new system, you can find through view current meeting resources bar. Did you see that?
Thank you. That's
Yeah, I
very
tried that.
helpful.
It didn't.
Because I was looking
This
through.
didn't,
You click on it.
you click on this and up comes,
I tried that last night and I don't think it worked for some.
Yeah, mine didn't work either.
Didn't work.
That green bar.
I did it and it worked. Maybe
It did?
Maybe it's the internet,
Internet
connection
might
or
be.
something. We use WoW.
I usually
Which
have a
is
really
cheap.
good
I don't know.
connection.
Okay.
It could be my internet,
Could've been.
mine's always crazy.
Mine's good.
But my link didn't work,
I
that
got
green
boosters
link.
all over the damn
Pack.
Right.
okay, but that's how you get to it. That's what they told me yesterday, because I got here for a
No.
meeting yesterday and was like, I don't know where this
You know, the
packet
last
is.
time they did this right was when they stopped those rotary phones because everyone with the 9.
Oh.
Every innovation since then.
Excuse me, I'd like to hold a commissioner for Ferndale in contempt.
Oh no! Oh no!
I know, he's too young. Okay, so if everybody's ready, we're going to move on to item 7A, continuation of the law enforcement training agreement with Oakland Community College. I need a motion. Commissioner Cavell, Commissioner Moss. there anybody to speak to this item?
So let me just say, so
Oh, details,
I'm
yeah.
And you would, if anyone goes to put their name in.
oh, but now I have the voting already.
Okay.
Are we supposed to vote already?
Oh, he's here to speak to it.
We were a little
Okay.
quick, yep. We were
Yep.
a little quick.
Okay.
Excuse me.
All right.
Can I get to
Good morning,
tapping that?
Mr. Pernick.
Good morning.
So instead of going to the PDF.
You want to just give us a description of this item?
Sure. Historically, the prosecutor's office has provided legal instruction to the Oakland Police Academy for both their basic academy and their in-service academy. This resolution will continue an agreement between the college and the county to provide payment for the prosecutors who go out there to teach. It's in the amount not to exceed $6,900, $6,960. And that'll cover both basic and in-service academy through the end of the sessions in 2022. I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Does not appear so. Since nobody has any questions, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
And Commissioner McGilvray, for some reason, his device is not connecting to the internet properly.
Yes.
Okay.
Poor Gary. Mine's looking good. I think I figured out how to
Okay.
easy.
Your item has passed 8-0. Thanks very much, Mr. Pernick, for coming in
Thank you,
this
everybody.
morning.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda, we will have item number 8A, Public Health and Safety, Emergency Management and Homeland Security, Fiscal Year 2021 Public Assistance Grant Agreement, FEMA 4494-DR-MI, application, action required is recommend.
Like this.
Action required is,
Is there a way to say the page number you're at? Because it doesn't
I
take you
haven't found
anywhere.
it yet.
Wait, let me see if I can find the
You
resolution.
know what
I
I
have a
mean? I
page
can't
number.
even.
I don't see a page number. Oh.
On the agenda?
Yeah, like when you're on like the resolution.
No longer links to whatever you're
Yeah, it
talking
doesn't.
about. It used to
Go
take
to,
you
go to the
where?
agenda.
To the agenda?
Instead of the packet, go to the agenda.
I don't think I can, I didn't down to
I like these PDFs all.
So how would the agenda jump to a packet?
Here, I'll work
Mike's
with
gonna
you so
help
they
you.
can continue their meeting, and I'll work with you so you can access it.
Because this is
Okay,
ridiculous.
so we are on 8A.
I can't prepare probably because I'm not on
Because the public assistant grant, does anybody on the commission, I need a motion, first of all. Commissioner Moss, supported by Commissioner Charles. Does anybody have any discussion on this?
Here's our mask.
Is,
Thank you. I'm still learning how to be a chair with this system. Commissioner Charles, you had a question or comment?
yeah, you know, we don't have a button that says slow down. So that was my way of slowing it down just a hair.
Oh, did you request to speak?
Yeah.
Green button. Okay, that's good.
Did someone already speak on this? Are we on our own?
Yeah, is there somebody from the department here to discuss this? Or somebody
there's a lot of
who sat on
attachments.
Public health and safety
Yeah, there
yesterday?
is a lot of attachments on this one.
It's a good way to do a filibuster, just request to speak.
Right. Never withdraw my hand.
I can speak to it if necessary.
Sure, come to the microphone, please,
Please.
Mr. Jen.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, they're not here.
Yes, I did though.
Good morning.
Good morning. Kyle Jen, Director of Management and Budget. So this resolution would authorize the county to receive the reimbursement from FEMA for eligible expenses that have been incurred, as part of the pandemic response. So that includes, for example, our vaccination sites. A lot of those costs are covered. So these are all costs that have already been incurred, expended against spending authorization that the board has approved. And this resolution simply allows for the receipt of those dollars. The process, frankly, takes a while. So Tom Hardesty and his team have been getting these reimbursement requests into FEMA. I think they've heard back on the first one, but it'll take a little while longer on some of the others. So this establishes that authority.
Okay.
And I think the total we've requested is 8.3.
8.3.
Yep.
Commissioner Cavell.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, remembering this from yesterday's Public Health and Safety Committee, this was part of that $10 million back in January, right? That we
A portion of it.
right?
Yep.
So then this is 8.3 is eligible, and this is for 700-some thousand, which is the first. And Tom was saying yesterday that he's been submitting the forms since 14 months ago is when he started submitting forms, and this is the first round of that money coming back to us.
Correct.
So it looks like a very long process. So he said we should expect to see a lot of these, right?
Yep.
Hopefully. Okay.
Well, I mean, this resolution, I think, creates the authority to receive all those dollars as they come in. We
So
can
that-
certainly keep everyone updated, but
Okay, so that we don't have to do this every time?
Right.
Okay. And then they're excused, right, because they have to handle something today, right? That's why no one showed up?
From the emergency.
Yes, I think that's
Yeah,
correct.
because
Yep.
they have to change, so that's why no one showed up. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And if I could, I would just flag, so we've, obviously, a lot of spending happened during the pandemic, and we had a large number of fund sources between the CARES Act dollars, FEMA dollars that the health department has received, via the state from the federal government, the GF that was authorized by the pandemic committee as kind of for the pandemic committee as an advance, on some of these costs. And then lastly, obviously, we have ARP now. So Lynn's staff has been spending a lot of time trying to sort through this and making sure we have things arranged as effectively as possible to maximize all those federal dollars and reduce the impact on general fund. We are anticipating bringing a resolution to this committee on the 15th that would establish ARP authorization for some of those ongoing pandemic response costs that aren't eligible under other federal funds. So, obviously we'll explain all the mechanics when that resolution comes. But that's to make sure that we've got everything covered for the fiscal year that's ending. As we're moving into the next fiscal year, we're going to try to be as proactive as possible in terms of making sure we've got fund sources identified up front. Obviously, the last year and a half, people have had to respond more quickly. So, and it's taken a while for the federal government to come through with guidance and all that. So I just kind of wanted to lay that groundwork while we had the moment.
Thank you. Commissioner, was that it, Commissioner Cavell? Commissioner Charles?
Thank you. I was just, so the vote is to approve or not approve the resolution. So then I just wanted to make sure for due diligence sake that these checklists, like O3PA electronic checklist and the summary for assurances checklist, along with the, I believe it was the lobbying activities fillable, those are all blank. Is that odd? And again, like I said,
They were all what?
blank. I'm trying to turn this around so you can see.
Sure.
These are the attachments.
Is what odd.
Yeah, I have to confess I'm not familiar with the application itself. We can certainly get you an answer from Tom, though.
That's why I started by saying I think we're voting on the resolution and the attachments were
Yeah, I
just
think
there
that's information.
for supplemental.
Yep.
But just if there was like a note attached saying, these are blank on purpose is always helpful. That's all I got.
I think
Thank you.
that's probably as a tool, as a checklist, but isn't
Yes.
We officially.
As long as Lynn Sonkis is signed off, I can sleep well.
That's my rule for everything.
Thank you, Chair.
Not going to be here that much longer, so I hope you're learning fast.
She can't leave,
Yeah,
sorry.
okay. There's no other comments or speakers lined up, so with that, let's call the roll. I apologize for my
My thing's.
lack of smoothness in all of this, but
Don't apologize. Nothing to
We just went through this
apologize
with Penny yesterday, you fine. Got a line in, it's okay.
for. It was a
I'm
curve.
just happy, I like it.
I love
Your voting
it.
thing coming up, Charlie?
no, mine did not.
Yeah, they're working on it.
This is actually Pam's first
Yeah, just gotta find the button.
Oh,
go at
Tracy
running.
was very smooth.
yeah,
and economic
baptism by fire.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's your prompt.
Your votes are up.
Yeah, no, we did this at SunCal though, with the little thing like 10 years ago. Like with a little button to vote.
And that's where when I worked in the legislature, they
Would you
just
mind voting
Yeah.
by voice?
Not at all. Yes.
Just change
Yes.
his password now.
Alright.
You just gotta pick his favorite dog.
Don't you know they're all his favorite? You don't say that about your
All my
kids.
favorites.
That's right.
I never said that.
My mother always had a favorite. It was whichever one she was with. She would say, "You're my favorite."
Right.
Smart woman,
Never said
yeah.
whichever favorite the
That's why you're so
child
good at politics, huh, Gwen?
She was a better politician than my dad. That's for sure.
My father always said he wished he'd only had
He would never have made it if she wasn't
Ah!
standing on his shoulder.
There you go. Oh, well.
All right,
Guess that's
this item has passed.
honest.
So we are moving on to item number 8B. Health and Human Services Health Division Fiscal Year 2022 Emerging Threats Local Health Department Agreement Application. Same sort of thing.
I move.
Yes, we need a motion. Thank you. Commissioner Charles, supported by Commissioner Powell. You did get Commissioner Powell in the attendance, right? Because she came.
Ask if there's any discussion, you can check to see if they have.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any discussion on this item?
So, resetting, where do I go? Don't talk to Chris Long. She thinks she knows what to do. She's wrong.
Nobody is showing that they want to speak. So
Please prompt
You
the
know
vote.
what it is.
Oh.
please prompt the vote. I was going to say, what do we say instead of call the roll? Please prompt the vote.
That's good.
Oh, that's Patty's idea. She's in charge.
It's the same thing.
Okay?
Okay.
You're just calling it quiet.
And then Commissioner Moss and McGilvray are still voting by voice for right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, like a sailor. You are a sailor though, right? Didn't you tell me you used to sail? Okay.
Okay, so Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
Okay.
That's true though.
And
Did you get
Commissioner
my vote?
McGilvray?
Yes.
So when you do enter those in then, Pam?
Did you hit save?
I thought I did.
Scared me.
All right. This item has passed unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Let's move on to item number 8C. Sheriff's Office Fiscal Year 2022 Oakland County Narcotics Enforcement Team Burn Grant Application. I see we have Mr. Wondrek with us, Officer Major. Yeah, what's your title, sir? I want to address you properly.
Good morning, Major Chris Wondrek, and we have Dave here on behalf of the Sheriff's Department.
She can't
or
see us.
Sheriff's Office.
Thank you. Okay, I have a motion by Charles, supported by Commissioner Long. And good morning.
Good morning. This is a request to approve our grant application for the Narcotics Enforcement Team Burn Grant Award. As most of you all know, it's a multi-jurisdictional team serving 16 local communities. This is an annual request. The funding will provide for 1 prosecuting attorney and 2 detective sergeants to oversee the net detective group.
Okay. Details, let's see. Does anybody, if you want to speak, don't see, Commissioner Moss?
No.
Oh, okay. That was a goof. Going once, going to, Commissioner Long?
Oh, I put my little green button just to see. So, just to use this, is this the same amount of funding we normally get, or up or down, or same?
Fantastic, thank you.
I think it's close to the same.
Okay.
Dave can answer that stuff.
I'm getting used to my looking for stuff, so. Okay.
Yeah, we can get back to you. but I
Yeah,
believe
that's good.
it's-
That's good. I was just looking through the documents, trying to find the amount from before. Thank you.
It's never enough to fund the whole program. It's always partial funding.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Long. Commissioner Charles?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello, Mr. Wondrak and Gaya. I just wanted to double check that, how was the process with regards to the Michigan State Police pass-through? Did you find any friction? Do you need our muscle? And if you could just speak to the MSP portion where it's a pass-through.
This grant we've had for years, so there's not necessarily any friction. I think you might be referring to some of our lab grant applications where we do have, disagreements on the funding amounts or the funding percentages. This one is a standard. They just tell us the amount each year, and then we kind of work it in to see how many positions we can continue funding with these dollars. And it has gone down over the years.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to try my.
Commissioner Moss, did you have a question?
No, I just want to see how the request to speak button works.
Okay.
It does.
Now we know.
It goes away.
They're just messing with you at this point, Mike.
I just need a shower.
Okay.
Little knowledge is a
Commissioner Long,
dangerous
did you
thing.
want to speak again? Commissioner Long?
Oh, no.
So hit the little red button down at the bottom that
Oh,
says-
mine's not on. Is it saying it's on?
It's not red.
Yeah, mine's green.
Oh,
Oh, that happened when I was sitting there in the last committee.
Ooh, see?
happened.
I'm watching the conspiracy show.
That's what Nixon thought.
There, see? Just
Thank
talking
you
Thought
for-
we were all off
See, man.
mic, huh?
thank
What's
you for
green?
bearing with us,
Bombing Russia
everybody.
begins in 31 seconds.
Okay, if nobody else wants to speak on this item, what's the phrase? Prompt the vote. Prompt the vote.
She's going to say prompt to vote. She's very formal.
I like it. Very fancy.
Not call the roll.
No, we're going to say prompt the vote.
Prompt the vote.
Uh-oh. Eileen's getting
I'm getting slam happy already.
going here. All right.
Let's see.
Just a little bit of a learning curve. We appreciate your grace.
Yes, I do. This is my first day.
It's like our first day of school, too.
This is my
Right?
first day,
It's
yeah.
our first day of school
Here
also.
we go. Okay.
I'm not a Duke anymore.
Okay.
I like it. I think it's pretty easy.
Commissioner
And
McGilvray
save.
still has an issue on his device, so he'll still have to do voice.
Okay, so.
Yes.
Which I promise it is not his problem. Something's.
But it's just weird. It always happens to
Yeah,
Gary.
it is my problem. I got
Yeah,
news
it
for you.
always happens to Gary. And
Gary's not happy.
If I can figure it out, anyone
It
can
does.
figure it out.
All right, we have the vote. This item has passed unanimously, so thank you very much this morning, Major Wondrak and Gaya, for coming before us. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Have a good day.
I think we should have another one.
They got the next item.
Oh.
They on the next one.
Yes. Next up is item 8D, the Sheriff's Office Fiscal Year 2021 Secondary Road Patrol Grant Application. I need a motion. Commissioner Moss, Commissioner McGilvray. All right.
All right, this request is to approve the grant application for our 416 Secondary Road Patrol and Traffic Accident Prevention Program. The amount is for $406,000. This is our 43rd year applying for the grant. Back in 1979, we started with 16 positions. This current grant will fund 3 positions. So it will fund a deputy 2 and 1 traffic sergeant.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm on everything. Did mine work?
It does, you're not showing up.
Oh, hold on, maybe.
Oh, details, right. Oh,
I'm right, though.
you're right.
Wrong?
Yes, no, you're there. It was
Okay,
my
good.
mistake. Commissioner Long.
All right, thank you. I'm trying to work with that to do it right, too, so I want it to work. But I would like, I'm looking at the summary sheet now. Granted, I haven't looked at everything, because I'm just getting used to this, and the resolution. But if we could just somehow, on these, if it wouldn't be too hard, just see what we got last year somewhere, even if it's on the summary sheet, and what we're getting this year. I would appreciate that, because I like to know if the things went up or down, like coming from federal or state grants, if they're, like if we're getting the same amount. That's not your issue. I'm just requesting if we could have, we got 406,000. What did we get last year? Even if it's on our summary sheet, I don't see it on there. I like to know, just because I've been here a while, and I think it's good for all of us to know what we got last year, just even if it's on the summary, if we could. That's just a request. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Long.
This is one, so we usually get this is our initial award or our initial amount, and then a lot of times we get supplemental funding. So this is a decrease from last year. Last year, our initial amount was $490,622. Then we got, so the initial decrease is a little over $84,590. Then we got a supplemental amount last year for $167,488. So our total program funding last year was over $650,000. So if you take our total from last year with this initial award, we're getting cut over $252,000, which is why we're having to delete a position.
Okay. See, that's important to know.
Yeah, unfortunately, with this grant, we're sort of in a delete and create loop where when we get the funding beginning October 1st, we don't have enough to fund all of our positions. Then they give us a supplemental, so then we create a position and add it back. Luckily, it doesn't result in any layoffs for us because we have so many vacant positions that we always have somewhere for them to land. It's just unfortunate that we have to do the paperwork for it to create it and keep deleting and creating, but that's the funding from the state, so we just roll with it as we get it.
Okay, thank you. And I did find it, Lynn pointed out, it's in, on this one, it's in third whereas, where it's decrease of 252. Thank you. I'm just learning how to do all this stuff, looking at my resolutions, because I couldn't pull up the packet before, so thank you.
Okay,
This is
I
as
don't
we go.
see anyone else lined up to speak. So with that, let's prompt the vote.
That one was in there, but the other one.
Yes.
Yes, what, Gary? Yes, he's taking us to lunch.
We should figure something out before the next vote, yeah.
He's buying gas.
Yeah. What do you think applesauce is good? Yes.
Okay,
Broccoli.
we have passed unanimously, so this item is completed. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for your support.
All right, next item is 9A, Facilities Management and Operations Building Management System Replacement Project, the fifth phase. I need a motion. Commissioner Cavell, supported by Commissioner Powell.
Oh, this is the heating and cooling.
Okay, do we have anybody here from facilities?
Yes, Commissioner Joe Murphy, Manager of Facilities Maintenance and Operations, is on. To address the resolution that's before you. This is a project that was approved through our 2021 CIP. Project is a competitively bid project. It is phase 5, and it's to replace a 30-year-old EMS system, building management system, otherwise kind of known as the energy management system that controls our lighting and all our environmental systems, our HVAC, air cooling and heating through those buildings. So we're seeking approval to move it to the next stage of the process, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. The total project is $600,000. $528,000 of that is for the installing contractor and equipment, which is Limbach, and then $72,000 of that fund is through engineering services.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Murphy. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see any speakers with requests. Going once, going twice. Okay, let's go ahead and prompt the vote.
There was a speaker.
Oh, now there's a speaker, sorry. Before we vote, Commissioner Charles.
Is this the same thing you mentioned, that you mentioned in EDI regarding the visit next week? Or is this different?
That's Webster School, that's another thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's different. Okay, so let's go ahead and prompt the vote.
Yes, to take us out to
Yes.
Let's bring it in for budget hearing.
All right, this item has passed unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Next item up is the facilities, item 9B, Facilities Planning and Engineering Fiscal Year 2021 Repaving Program Project. I need a motion. Commissioner Moss, supported by Commissioner Cavell. Good morning again, Mr. Joss.
Good morning. So this resolution is for our annual paving program. It is an ongoing line item in the capital improvement plan. We've evaluated our lots and have determined that the ones listed in the resolution are the highest priority. We've worked with our purchasing department to competitively bid the work. The main contractor to do the paving, the lowest responsible bidder was Asphalt Specialties Incorporated out of Pontiac, Michigan. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, so they're going to pave some parking lots for us. Does anybody have any questions?
Always expensive.
Going once, going twice. Okay, let's go ahead and prompt the vote.
Commissioner McGilvray?
Yes.
I take it if you wait a little bit, it gets more colorful. Vote, dummy.
All right, this item has passed unanimously. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, we're on to item number 9C. Facilities Planning and Engineering 2021 Roof Replacement. Again, we have Mr. Joss before us. Good morning, again.
Need a motion.
Right, thank you. We need a motion. Commissioner Charles, supported by Commissioner Powell.
Thank you. So this is our annual roof replacement program. Like the pavement program, this is an annual line item in the capital improvement program. We are constantly evaluating our roof conditions and prioritizing them. For this year, we've determined that these two buildings are the priority and we'll be replacing the roofs. We worked with purchasing again on a competitive bid. The lowest responsible bidder that will be doing the majority of the work is Bloom Roofing Systems out of Brighton. And I will mention that that if this is approved, we will not be re-roofing until the spring because of a long lead time, a 6-month plus delay on roofing materials at this time.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions? I don't see anyone. I just want to make a comment. It's actually relative to the last item. When we saw this in EDI this morning, you talked about the parking lot out in the BOC parking lot and how you're going to have some of it be permeable paving because of the drainage issues. And I really appreciate that we're going to be doing some of that around here. And I didn't say that earlier, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good.
Okay, if nobody wants to ask any more questions, let's prompt the vote, please.
Commissioner McGilvray?
Yes.
You said it changes colors.
It seemed to, yeah. Because I wasn't paying attention, I looked and it was like.
Yelling at you?
Yeah.
Did you get everybody?
We can practice with you.
Okay, all right, thanks, Mary, sorry.
Oh, he was just waiting to see.
Yeah.
Oh. Y'all really are testing me today.
We love the system and we love you.
I appreciate
Gives me a heart attack.
All right, we have a unanimous approval of this agenda item. So thank you very much, Mr. Joss, and everybody else.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have other business, and that's our budget hearings. So we have removed the Emergency Management and Homeland Security Group from the budget hearings for today. So all we're going to hear from is Parks. The reason we removed them is that Mr. Hardesty, who is in charge of this, is tied up today with other security issues on the campus. And so he'll be before us at our next Finance Committee meeting, or at a rescheduled budget hearing. Okay, so is there anybody from Parks and Rec going to be here?
Sue Wells
What
is
time are we
online.
supposed to start this for these
It
departments?
was at
Do you know?
12. Parks and Rec, 12:20, I think.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay, because we took
That's
time
why
off the
they might not be
beginning.
here.
Yeah,
you
the
know.
schedule is on. It's on.
Right. Okay, well,
And
there's
then can we
Sue.
start early or no?
Commissioner Markham, I can get the other two that are joining
Great,
us.
we can knock this out.
There's one,
Oh, I don't know.
and I think,
Oh,
there we go.
here we all are. So whenever you are ready, we are ready.
Can I just make a request that someone allows me to be a presenter so I can share our PowerPoint?
We can do that.
Commissioner Powell.
I was just gonna say, can you instruct us of next steps? Because we are just all over the place. Are we gonna move forward? Are we taking a break? Or what you wanna do? Chair?
Well, I was thinking since they're here, we'll go ahead and let them present to us, if that's
Okay.
all right. Just keep going. It's only a 20, 30-minute presentation.
Okay.
And then the only other one we're going to have today is is the Board of Commissioners.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so let's go ahead and hear from Parks and Rec right now.
I'll make you laugh. I'll make you probably like,
We're going to move the wrap up. No, we're going to move it. It's not going to be today.
great. I got caught up with that.
It's not ready.
Wrap up of the finance committee.
Yes.
We have adjourned, that's no
Well,
problem.
I'm happy.
It's usual. I just wanted to know how we're doing on our,
Yeah, I didn't think we actually adjourned until after the budget hearings.
okay, good, we can do that on other business, then. Thank you.
Right, yes, it's on, this is other business.
This is other business.
published
for times?
No. She said no, the budgets aren't published for times.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, good morning, Commissioners. I'm Sue Wells from Parks, and with me I have Phil Castonia, who is our Chief of Business Development, as well as Jeff Phelps, our analyst from Fiscal Services. And we're happy to present our budget to you. Our budget has been reviewed by our Parks and Recreation Commission. Just a quick background. We were created in 1966 under Public Act 261. Our original mill was 0.25, and we renewed and replaced that mill in November to with an approval rating of 76.3%. We have 14 parks, over 7,000 acres of land, and almost 80 miles of trails. We have more than 2 million annual visitors. We're very blessed with the facilities we have with golf courses, campgrounds, water parks, activity centers, our day-use parks, farmers market, and over 1,400 special events and programs. We do contract with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office for safety and security. We've been under contract with them since public safety dissolved, and they've been a wonderful partner. And with the surveys that are taken in regards to why people want to go to a county park is usually number one or number two is because they feel safe. That contract has 5 deputies. And we're toggling back and forth. 5 deputies and the 40 part-time deputies. Much like everybody else, it's been very difficult for the sheriff's office to find part-time deputies. Our largest operating expenses that we have in our budget, first and foremost, is our staffing. It's about, the budgeted amount is 42% of our budget. However, that is not what our actual is. Our actual is much lower than that because we budget higher for full-time and part-time staff. And much like this year, many part-time staff didn't work or they worked very limited hours. We do have our maintenance management programs, which is our roofing, siding, road repairs, and natural resources, our sheriff contract, our ground maintenance at all our parks. Indirect costs, we use the county services such as HR, corporation counsel, purchasing, and we pay for those. However, if we had to hire staff to do that, it would be much more. Infotech and building maintenance. Some of our challenges that our department faces, and I think we are not alone, is our biggest challenge right now is the recruitment and retention of employees. That is both full-time and part-time. I don't want to be the broken record in regards to recruitment of part-time staff this summer, but in 30 years, it was the worst summer that I've envisioned or went through. Full-time staff, when there is an opening, historically, we would get a lot of applications. This year, when we had an opening, we would get 3 to 4 applicants over a 2-month period. We've already met with HR in regards to next year on what we can do for recruitment and retention, looking at pay rates, looking at incentives, bonuses, and other things to make it attractive for people to come to work here. We all know right now, pay is not the only thing that drives people to work in an environment, but if we can capitalize on pay, we can get those people that may decide to go to one place to another. Deferred capital maintenance projects, we have over $20 million worth of deferred capital maintenance projects. However, with our new millage monies, we are going to be able to get those numbers down and be able to take care of some things that have been sorely needed to be repaired. COVID is still affecting our operations. Waterford did not open this year. not because of COVID, but because of lack of lifeguards. We're very limited with mobile recreation on some of the things we can do, and grill room operations. This does affect our revenue, and our revenue will be down in some budget centers because of this. We are continuing to evaluate 3 major areas. One is our conference centers. Our conference centers, as you know, had a challenge with COVID. We are looking at how can we repackage these conference centers. One thing we're trying at White Lake Oaks is that we operate them, that people can bring in their own caterer, that there is not a food concessionaire. Or do we change the building into something else? Another opportunity that we've evaluated this year and continue to evaluate next year is our golf course operations. Our goal is to make golf course operations neutral financially. We did hire a consultant along with our park staff, and currently we are at $800,000 more revenue-wise than we were last year because of the changes we've made. And our last one is Waterford Oaks Water Park. It's the second wave pool in the United States. It needs about $5 million worth of reinvestment into the facility. And we will be having to make a decision on what are we doing moving forward with the water park. Is it rebranding it to a different type of facility? Is it investing? So these are big decisions that administrative staff as well as the commission will be making. Staffing, we went from a high water mark of 90 full-time staff down to 63 in 2008. And we're gradually getting our numbers back up. We currently have 81 full-time positions, but 73 of them are filled. 8 are vacant. We have 971 part-time staff and 600 are filled. And we do have 6 employees that participated in the VSIP. We've had no reclassifications of positions this year. One thing that we are evaluating in regards to Millage Initiatives and SYSMA is we are currently working with the Oakland County Human Resources on the evaluation of the review of the Natural Resources Unit. And with SYSMA on board, we're looking at adding 2 full-time positions and 6 part-time position requests. We are evaluating the funded positions that we did not fill prior to the millage. We had positions that became vacant, and it was the decision of the leadership team not to fill those until the outcome of the millage was positive. We are right now working with the Parks Commission on our strategy with this. Retention, it is difficult retaining part-time staff. I think we all know that the part-time staff their philosophies changed from what it was a couple years ago, but we have some very wonderful staff, and I can't lose sight of that, but there are many staff that work 2 weeks and resign for a higher paid opportunity or one that may give them more hours. We've also, this year, which we feel is very good, is there was only a total of 5 part-time employees who are at will that we terminated due to disciplinary issues. We do have succession planning. Each staff person does have a plan in regards to career advancement and professional development. However, internally, it's very difficult for staff to move into a higher position because of the limited amount of staff that we do here compared to, example, over at the ELB or Water Resources. So there is a tendency for us to lose some staff to another department, of which we're happy for because they do get a promotion. Real quick, our budget for 2022, it is a $34 million operating budget. And to highlight, I think there were a couple commissioners interested in that, is 1.8 million of that is for natural resources. When other areas were cut natural resources, it was the desire of the department to place emphasis on natural resources and continue to put emphasis on natural resources. So that continues to grow, of which we're happy for, and to continue to be leaders in that. We also have 200,000 in the Recreation Assistant Partnership Program. We also have 4.4 million in our capital improvement program, as well as 600,000 in our capital equipment program. Just to highlight real briefly, our millage initiatives that we sold our millage under is increased in capital improvement program by almost 3 million. Our programs, of which there's 750,000 for our Trail Community Grant Program, 450,000 to Park Improvement Community Grants, SISMA, 575,000, and an additional 200,000 for recreation program outreach. We did also increase our capital equipment budget, and as well as one thing that we are completely proud of but very surprised, we only anticipated 2,500 at the most, but the free annual vehicle permits to residents, senior, and active military, we have given away, though, to Oakland County residents more than 7,000 vehicle permits. So it's getting more people in the park, of which we're happy for. So I'd be more than happy to answer questions. Bill or I would be. Jeff?
Okay, thank you. First up, we have Commissioner Powell.
I just wanted to share with my colleagues with the RAP program. Of course, the city of Pontiac uses that religiously, and I want to thank everyone who created that program because it's been good. But I also want to tell Sue, please share with the workers. We appreciate them because they're understaffed. They have been taking a lot from our constituents, be it both good and bad. But I just wanted you to please pass on the message to say that we appreciate them. We thank them for working and continuing through all of the COVID situations. And thank you for just being considerate and welcoming with that program as well with the constituents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. Does anybody else have any, excuse me, comments or questions? I just have two small ones. You talked about a maintenance plan going forward now that we have the new millage and there's a lot of deferred maintenance. And we're not your governing body. You have a board that you report to. So I'm just wondering, is that group going to have a presentation of what that overall maintenance plan is, and maybe it could come forward as a piece of Parks and Rec at a future finance committee?
Yeah, well,
If I can, we're kind of waiting on the new director because we want him to be a part of that planning. So as soon as we can get him here and then with our staff go over all the capital improvement projects that need to be done and figure out what we can do, so.
Okay, well, we don't want to lose Ms. Wells, but, you know, she wants to retire eventually, I know. The other question I have, you mentioned that the golf courses had much improved revenue last year, which is a little bit surprising because, you know, everything's down, but you want to talk about that a little bit? What was different?
Certainly. Well, first, golf, because of COVID, golf has become one of the winners because people can golf during the day, may sneak out when they're working from home, and people just want to get outside. Oh, but not that anybody would ever do that.
I've done it.
A couple things that we did this year is historically we had a spring rate, a cheaper rate or a less expensive rate in the springtime. Well, when we evaluated it, that's when everybody wants to golf. You know, people are gnawing at the bit to get on the course. So we got rid of the spring rate. We also increased fees. We increased fees for seniors, veterans, and youth. I will say that we did hear it from the seniors. However, the number of seniors this year golfing has gone up, I want to say by at least 10%. So there are seniors that golf our courses. We feel we have a very good product out there. And we evaluated our fees more on what cover our costs rather than evaluating them by what Karen Clinton's charged, so we should be comparable. We had more of a very online presence with reservations, which has been successful. But we're going to be evaluating everything at the end of the season, and hopefully we'll be able to make some tweaks moving forward and even increase that revenue.
Excellent, thank you. It's nice to have a highlight and a positive, you know?
It sure is.
Okay, does anybody else have any comments? Commissioner Powell, did you have anything else you wanted to?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, well, if nobody else has any other questions or comments, that will conclude the budget hearing for the Parks and Rec Department.
Yes. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, so this isn't the right page.
Love our parks.
Good job, Gary. Holding it down over there.
All right.
No longer.
And Chris?
And Chris, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and Chris, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, the three of you
Oh,
are.
you too,
Okay.
sorry. Y'all all holding it down. Good job, good job.
All right. So,
We almost have the majority on finance, so I don't.
I was just thinking, you start pointing out more people, I'm like, oh, we got a lot of us here.
that's right.
So that isn't the right page.
So we're moving the emergency management group.
Chris,
and
Yolanda, and myself run parks.
Right. So next up, we have the Board of Commissioners.
So that budget page is 190 though, right? Because that's the staffing. That number, that 349, I think you
Yeah,
guys.
it's,
So I believe it's 190, just so you guys know. Because the parks was the wrong one too.
Oh, sorry.
You know, you went to the diagram of how much staff, I think.
Remember that county budget.
Oh, 190, isn't it? So what is?
I think it's 187.
Okay, is it close to there?
Yeah.
You know, the number, the line item.
Yep, 187.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
187.
myself on that one.
Yeah, the 349 is the staffing.
You know what? We got some things to say about this. Yeah, Board of Commissioners staff.
Okay.
Try to go easy on them. They mean well.
All right, next up, we have Patty Dibbs, Chief of Staff of the Board of Commissioners, to be before us for her first budget hearing. Welcome.
Questions?
Well, good afternoon, and I have Mike Andrews here to kind of give me an assist. It's actually not my very first budget hearing. I used to do this over across DeQuinder, although the method is a little bit different here. So I'd just like to start out to say that I started in mid-April, and my first big task was from Kyle Jen to submit the budget for the department. So thankfully he gave me a couple of new guy weeks to get my bearings, and thankfully the staff here is wonderful, and they stepped up and helped me get acclimated and on board with everything that's going on here. So I don't know if I should take this off. We were tasked as a department to reduce our personnel expenses, and the target reduction amount that we were giving was $129,189. We actually did reduce $122,423, which wasn't fully what we were asked, but there was a difference of $6,766. So we came pretty close. We do have 2 people who left under the VSIP program in 21 and 20. There was a little bit of something that predated me. There was a reorganization and some shifting around of funding, and the staff sort of became aligned in a different way. So a little bit of the funding from one of those positions was used for that reorganization. And then we do have 1 employee slated to retire in 2023. Now, we are talking about I'm including the Legal Resources Center with our talk here today. I am under the understanding that it used to be the Law Library, right? Mm-hmm. And then it changed to the Legal Resources Center. And when I came in, there was the start of a reimagining of the services that would be offered there, taking into account the technology that is out there and the usage. So we are actually sort of on a downslope for the Legal Resources Center. It is not offering in-person services other than hosting legal aid clinics right now, and then we are going to be reusing the space in different, more efficient ways. You heard a little bit about it this morning at EDI. A portion of the space to the right, if you ever go up there, is going to be used for the MIDC, and then the other areas will be used for some other purposes, and that's still under our purview. So we will decide how those spaces will be used once they are rid of all the library shelves and things like that. So it'll be more useful for us. So I appreciate everyone being very open to implementing Civic Clerk. There's really, with 21 commissioners and a large staff, there's really no other way to implement other than to just do it. And again, I have experienced, this is my second implementation of this system, and it's going well. So you guys are good sports about it all, and we have trained the entire county, in fact, on this system, and they're being great about submitting their items into the system. It's a cloud-based system, so we are reducing space on our servers. We are not sending PDFs and large files through our email system anymore. And we're going to be realizing more efficiencies, both with personnel and their workload and the manual labor that used to go into, instituting these large packets. So we're doing great. And I have to give kudos to Lynn and Kyle as well, because they hopped right into learning the system and are getting their staff on board with everything too. So again, change is not always easy, and there are growing pains, but really it's always good because we expand our capabilities, we realize efficiencies, and we become more transparent with the public. We are working to realize more efficiencies within the board office. So in keeping with becoming more nimble, working in a hybrid environment that is some home, some in the office, we are decommissioning our PCs, most of them, and getting laptops or tablets. So we are, able to work from anywhere without having to remote into your PC. IT has instituted VPN, so we are more easily able to access all of our shared files. So we are, we're getting there. We're moving forward, and again, it is not always as smooth as we would like. And sometimes I feel like people look at me like I'm nuts. What is this lady suggesting? But it's going well, and let me just compliment the staff and you guys for having this staff, because they are really stepping up to the plate, and they're really adapting very well. So that takes me to, that's kind of the current situation, and kind of takes me to some recommendations. Again, as a new set of eyes coming in, there were some things that I noticed, and some things that we can address just operationally, and some things that I would recommend and advocate for structurally. So I noticed that our special projects line item only has 1266, I think, in it. And I would recommend that, because I could not find, the first couple of weeks when I was coming in to do the budget, I really couldn't find a lot, and thank goodness for this great staff to pull all the figures and the information together, and to provide the historical information, because I couldn't tell what was going on very easily. So I think it would be a great idea to fund a special projects line item, put the existing projects that currently are in place there, and then work to internally implement a reporting structure so that we can have real data to, kind of evaluate the efficacy, the reach, and the relevancy of what current projects are, and perhaps adapt and grow with the times, and maybe do some other projects. The Board of Commissioners is really the only contact point for the public for county government. It's the only place that constituents can directly hear and see what is going on, and you guys are in charge of the expenditure of taxpayer funds. So as legislators, you're pretty good at making rules and following them. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend strongly that we take that course of action.
I like that.
Thank you. Okay, so commissioners, I see Commissioner Powell first.
I didn't know if you can disclose the information, but you said we had 2 that left our visa and 1 is planning to retire. I didn't know if you could let us know their names or not. I didn't know if that's...
Yeah, that's public information, yeah.
So could you let us know those names?
Yeah, Renee and, what was the other one? Sherry. Renee and Sherry from the Legal Resources Center. And then Patty, Patty Schaefer, or original Patty, because she spells her name correctly like I do, P-A-T-T-I. She is planning to leave in 2023.
That's why we don't know.
I was about to say, now, who slipped by us and we didn't know what was going on?
That's right, because that's included.
Kind of panic over here that, God, are we cutting our staff? Yeah.
And then my other question is, yes, Patty, I will say, thank you for bringing this to us. I think this is marvelous for me. Are we looking to maybe fix our computers too, eventually? Can our computers, could we bring those back and get this stuff added on to it and stuff like that?
So I would encourage any commissioner who has any piece of assigned equipment that they are not using or not happy with to bring them in, because we are charged quarterly for every device. So, yeah, so that's one thing, and you can tell I come from a practical standpoint. We don't want to be spending money if we don't have to. And then if definitely bring your devices in if they're not working for you.
Well, see, this is the thing.
Do you have the laptop too?
I don't know if those are, good for us to now use with stuff changing. Is iPads better? Are they more compatible with that system? Are Dell's good with that? I don't.
Yeah, the Civic Clerk system is device agnostic, meaning you can use your phone, you can use your assigned devices, and we'll help walk you through that.
Okay.
So if anyone, as I offered last week, training at any time you want to come in, we're all equipped to give you sort of a walkthrough of the stuff.
Well, I do know one thing. It was recommended, though, that we do have separate devices and all that stuff from corporate counsel, correct? Wasn't that where we had the computers and stuff like that? Well, I would honestly say, for the record, I do so much on my personal, I haven't really used it. So that's why I'm trying to say, like, for somebody like me with an iPad maybe, I don't know, because I still need to be really conducting that business on that. So if that's an option for us, I don't know. But I have rarely used my computer, so that's why I was asking.
We can talk it through, but but I would encourage you, if you have something assigned to you that you don't like, want, or use, bring it in and we'll either work through your issues or we'll decommission it and we'll save a little bit of money.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
So we're not required to keep those Dell computers and use them for county business?
I think that those, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, those were mostly deployed during the pandemic for your ability to do remote meetings.
I would keep it a while.
Well, no, I'm gonna just
In
get
case
it
you
up.
go remote, I'd keep them a while, these.
Well, that's just for me. That's a sideline. I'm sorry. I know that's an individual thing with commissioners, but I just wanted to call the question.
Yeah, we can talk
No,
about
I
it.
do the same thing. I do the same thing. So that's a
Okay.
good question.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anything else, Commissioner Powell?
Yeah, I would keep that down for a while.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay,
Oh, let me
Commissioner
withdraw.
Long, you're next.
Okay, so on page 188, and I don't know if I knew it, but contracted services, what does that include? That actual 2020 was 147,000. Who is contracted? What is a contracted services on the Board of Commissioners? Or is it the library stuff or someone else?
Well, go ahead.
So that's the Rochester Hills visually impaired.
All right, that's what I was thinking. Okay, and that's just that only?
Well,
Is it anything
so
else?
as of last year, that made up, I want to probably say, percentage-wise, probably 98 point whatever
Okay.
percent of that. There were some other charges to that for
That's the
audio
visually
visual
impaired,
services.
right? The visually
Correct,
impaired?
correct.
Are we
Can you
contracted with Rochester? Okay.
elaborate on that just a little bit? I don't know what that is.
So we've
year
had a long-term contract with, and I mean, I can try to take a stab at some of the history to this, but long before I even came here in 2015 to the county, but then 16 or 17 to the board, is they had the visually impaired library actually moved from, I think, on the county campus here to Rochester Hills. And that was a part of an agreement that either the board had or the county had with Rochester Hills Public Library to take on more of those visual impairment services. And in order to do that, there was an agreement that was put into place to contract it out through the board's budget. So now currently they stand as a long-standing contracted services within that budget that provides those services to citizens all across Oakland County. It just so happens that it's housed at the Rochester Hills Public Library.
And it's my understanding that that contract runs out at the end of 2022.
So what do we think we'll do in 2022? Would we think we'd want to
I would imagine there'd probably be a resolution that comes forth to the board if there is interest in renegotiating that contract, yes.
Okay.
And
That will come forth to the board for that.
Mike, didn't Rochester Hills already have that? They already had that there,
portion there.
remember? Because I think then it saved us money to just contract with them, because then we just went with them. They already had that in place, and then we got rid of ours here. I remember all that stuff. I just didn't know what that line item was,
No,
you
yeah,
know?
that's-
But then we
that's-
went with them because it was cheaper, you know, like just to put it all over there. So we contracted with them, so. Thank you. Just didn't know what the line item was.
Is that it?
Yep, I'm all set. I can withdraw my request now.
Commissioner Moss?
Yeah, I really, really, really like the proposal for special projects for that reform. 100%. Let's get that done. I have a question. So the civic clerk, you said it is across all the platforms, so all the various devices I have can use it. You say it's system agnostic, which means it does not believe either in the primacy of the great Lord Apple or the great Lord IBM, either way, right? So it does both. Okay, it'd be system ecumenical, but what about, I guess one more question. We're still doing the law, after all these years, we're still doing the law libraries?
Not for long.
Well, it changed to the Legal Resources Center, which took away some of the actual
Books.
Right.
What happened to all the books? There are a lot of books. Where'd they all go? Did we sell them all to John King or whatever?
Actually, they were given away and offered to different courts. Am I saying that right, Aaron? Okay. Yes. And it's been a process. It's been a long process. So we're sort of on a slope downward towards sunsetting the Legal Resources Center, because the most up-to-date and easy to access resources are online.
Well, yeah. When I was in law school in the late 70s, I worked in the law library, and they literally updated them by opening up the binders and pulling pieces of paper out, and you had little envelopes that came from the publisher, and you put in the proper things into the paper. You really did, or they had little pocket parts in the back of the book, which you pulled out, and you would have like a 20-volume whatever, and hey, it was beat working. It was great, in the law library. But so the fact that I don't think anybody, I don't think there's any provider that does that anymore. Why are we still in the law library business anyhow?
Yeah, we are sunsetting. Yes, we are sunsetting that.
How come we can't? I kind of like we can't as the year goes by and we get past the solstice, the sun gets down sooner. Can we sunset it quicker?
Yeah, we're working on it. We are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that seems like a historical anomaly that we still have it, but we should get rid of it. Okay, thank you. I'm going to play Shelley Taub.
I know you.
$200 for groceries?
You're acting just like with the books. We can
No,
share
come on.
some books.
You're channeling her.
No, I'm not going to challenge. Oh, my God, don't, please. Let me roll my 4 dice and I'll pick the numbers. What about, I'm sorry, Shelley. All right, don't encourage me. That's all. That'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay.
Oh, that's funny. I'm losing control, I can tell. You done, Mr. Moss? Commissioner?
No, I'm done.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate your support on her idea, though.
Yeah, it's great. Let's do it.
Commissioner McGilvery, you're next on the list.
I'm curious to know how much money we have received from CARES Act funds or ARP funds to offset the cost of all that's gone on here for the BOC.
So I'd actually look over here to the right, but I think what you're going to have is a resolution that's coming forth from management and budget, I believe, next round that will cover the operational expenses, and that's going to be utilizing ARPA funds to reimburse the county on that. From what we've seen in an advanced copy is they do have it broken down with a couple of different bullet points for the commission to review, or the board to review, as far as how that's broken out. And I think it's like $6 million for one piece. I can't remember it off the top of my head. We were still kind of analyzing it, but then we received word that there's even more changes to it. So that's why I think the delay in bringing that forth to the board for their approval. So that is coming. I would tell you. It's a great question, I think, and we will, once we do get that within our civic clerk system, the board staff will start analyzing that and working with management and budget to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Is there any way that we could get a report of what money was received from CARES Act or ARP money, a list and how much on each particular item? I mean, as far as plexiglass, the computer system out in the boardroom.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's a great question, Commissioner, and it's definitely something that I think the board staff and the board would work with the county executive to present that to you and present even back to the Finance Committee meeting in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, Commissioner McGilvery, because as these big pots of money are coming forward, it's really easy to get ahead of it and not necessarily get it all documented properly. And we want to make sure we're documenting how we're spending the money and that it in fact meets the requirements of the federal rules that came with it. And so it is complicated, but I agree. I would like to see, what have we spent so far at the BOC to be in compliance with all of this, and what's it look like? So that's a really good point. Commissioner Powell.
So I have a question in regards to our structure and how we operate as a staff. I know that it was brought up in our caucus that, Patty, I think you and top leadership will be bringing forth to us where commissioners are going to be requested to be more involved in our process of requesting things that we want them to work on. So I was wondering, will that come future in more of a presentational way where we y'all kind of enlighten us on the new structures and responsibilities or accountability as far as staff and us? Will that come later? And I think that's actually a great thing, because with COVID, it has shifted a lot. And it is this hybrid thing with people working. So I just want to hear, just from you. You took over, what you've seen, what are some of your structural things you're looking? I just want to hear from you to see.
Oh, thanks.
And give us an update on that.
Okay, happy to do that. Well,
and let me say this. The reason why I'm big on that, just to let everybody know, I was always support staff. So I always want to make sure, and for the record with my staff, with our staff, I've been very transparent and being supportive of them. And just making sure, because as legislators, when I worked in the state house, we can become demanding sometimes and not respectful of our staff. So that is why I've always been an olive branch to our staff to be a voice of reasoning with our leadership sometimes when things were coming up. So I love to hear how our support staff, how our staff is doing and what is going on with you, or what your plans is, whatever.
Well, thank you. So yes, I came in from a parallel position in a different structure. So I came in here and have had 4 months now to kind of assess everything. And I think really the way it's set up with your 3 silos for the different tasks is great. I really like that. I will be happy to be your point of contact and then to sort of farm out the tasks to the different appropriate silos. So I do appreciate you mentioning this, and I encourage all of you to reach out to me. I don't have much going on in my life, so I'm always available.
Oh, don't tell us that. Don't tell the commissioners that.
That was a joke, everybody.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
But I do have 15 plus years of, at one time managing 26 commissioners and 13. So 21 seems like a really good number, and I think it's great. So that's how I would see it, and I do appreciate your support. And I appreciate all your support to all of our staff. I think everyone recognizes that we've really got some great people here, and it's exciting to work with such a competent staff and active commissioners, actually.
Oh, that's a plus for us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very, very much.
Okay. Is that it, Angela? Is that the last?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions for Patty? So, okay. I wanted to just have you talk a little bit about this new process and how we can make it easy for the public to access it. Are we maybe a big fat button, or I don't know, so that somebody like Ms. Kennedy can say, well, I want to review what's going on at finance today and actually figure out how to find it.
So
and be
you
able to
mean-
toggle through the important pieces of it.
Right. So if we travel to our website like we've always done, and we go to the quick links, can you tell I know? At the bottom on the left, there's agendas and minutes. And you simply click on that, and up comes the meeting resources page. And, you know, if there are, I'll evaluate with Sarah, our communications person, to see if, you know, there are more blatant ways to, you know, maybe click here or something like that. But once you are there, you would click on the large green bar that says meeting resources. You click on that, and you will go to the public portal. And all of our upcoming meetings through the rest of the year, all of them that are board meetings, and again, a little bit of grace here as we transition our task forces and other types of meetings into the civic clerk system. So, you know, we do hope that people will give us a little bit of a pass on that. We're working on that. But you will see all of the upcoming meetings near the top of the page. Those that have taken place already, so yesterday's meetings, are just at the bottom of the page in date order. So the most, you know, recently passed events are at the bottom. There's a title of the agenda, and to the right, you will see an area that says download, and you can download your agenda, the packet, and then when the minutes are published, that's where you'll obtain the minutes as well.
Okay.
So we'll look into, you know, I'll have her evaluate that and see if we can make it even more, you know, user-friendly and obvious.
Yeah, I know that when I came to the county, I didn't find it super easy to navigate around. And I can imagine the public, as they don't even know sometimes really what they're looking for by title or whatever. So yeah, anything we can do to make it more user-friendly and easier to follow, I think is a good thing. So
I will say one thing. In doing numerous research projects for the board, where I've had to look at other counties across the nation, Oakland County does have, I believe, one of the best websites in the nation itself, if not probably throughout the entire world. There is a lot of information that's out there. It's just being able to have the patience, if you're the public, to kind of navigate through, and you'll stumble on something, and you'll find that there is just a wealth of knowledge on programs that Oakland County does. The COVID-19 in and of itself is a great web page to go to get data on what's happening. Not to give a kudos to the health department or at all, or the executive, but like I said, I've done a lot of research, and I found that what Oakland County provides to its constituents and its citizens is top notch, I think. So.
yeah, I think there's, like you said, there's so much information. It's really a matter of how do I find what I'm looking for.
And we can also certainly, like, maybe, I provided it to Commissioner Spiz. I can give you a quick little script to either send to your constituents or for yourself, how to quickly get to upcoming meetings or recently passed meetings. So I can send that to you so that you have that information to share as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I will mention that Patty and I have talked, and this idea of bringing projects forward, she is, with her staff, is pulling together a template, which is all the blanks you have to fill in if you want to bring a project forward. So she gave me a draft of that this morning. I gave it to Mr. Spiz to take a look at for the Republican caucus, and he made some comments, and so that's coming. Patty's doing that, and I think that'll be really helpful. So, okay, anybody else have anything for the Board of Commissioners leadership budget hearing? If not, we're done with that. Oh, Commissioner McGilvery.
Do we have an amendment list? Do we have to receive and file that?
Is that something
You want to do that now?
We'll
Thank you.
yield to Lynn and her.
I want to say
Thank you,
one
guys.
thing before we go on, though. We did have budget wrap-up scheduled for today, but we're not ready for that. There's some of the information that needs to be brought to us and pulled together is not complete. So the proposal for the date to have the budget wrap-up would be Tuesday morning, this coming week. Can any of you? It is, no, it's the 31st.
No, I won't, well, I'm not in town.
Angela, I know you're gone.
Yep, I'm gone.
When's Labor Day?
It's the 7th.
I'm sorry?
Following Monday.
So can I just have a show of hands of people who could be available Tuesday morning to see if we might have a quorum? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'll make myself join by phone. Okay, I'll just join by phone.
Okay, so it looks like we'll have a quorum. We need 5, and so we'll be good.
10 a.m.?
It's Tuesday the 31st?
I don't know if it's 10 or 9. Might end up being at 9. But Chris Ward says he will be removing budget wrap-up from the agenda and rescheduling for Tuesday. So 10 is probably okay.
I've been starting to do morning runs to try to stay fit.
On the,
Yeah.
yeah, first.
Well, I have to drive an hour to get here, so.
Yeah, right.
Well, will we have the other department that day too then?
Yes.
So we have one more department.
One more
Don't we have
department and the
Homeland
budget
Security?
wrap-up, and I don't want it, I want to make enough time because I have
the
afternoon
amendments
commitments
sometime,
and that I don't want to wreck, so.
Oh, 10 o'clock, you said 10 o'clock Tuesday?
It's either 10 or 9, or
Okay.
9:30 maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that's solid.
Okay, well,
So which is it?
You'll have to stay in Birmingham then.
which is it?
Oh, which is it?
Yeah.
You call it.
I call it, let's say 9:30.
Okay.
9:30.
9:30, Tuesday, the 31st.
Okay, we'll put that on now then.
All
So
right,
that'll be the wrap-up and the last department we need.
right.
Okay. So that'll be a Tuesday, already the 31st. That's very
Yeah,
9:30.
9:30. That way we'll be sure to get all the way through it without any
good. 31st.
panics.
Finance.
Okay. All right, now, Lynn is here. Thank you, Lynn.
And we are
Okay.
I need a motion to receive and file, is that right? Commissioner Moss, supported by Commissioner Kowal.
Okay, on today's amendment list, I believe you all have a hard copy of this. There are several new items appearing on today's list. Section A, however, does not have any new items. Section A, A1 through A9 remains the same as last week, as there was no board meeting last week to adopt any new resolutions. We do have some Section B amendments. So on the summary, you will note that B1 and B2, these do not have a financial impact. These are basically just technical cleanups for a couple of position or HR-related, personnel-related budget pages that needed to be updated. So B1 is to update the fact that there were 2 public health nurse 3 positions that were financially budgeted, but were not listed in the various budget requests, organization charts, et cetera. So pages PDF, or I'm going to say PDF, document pages 19 through 30 correct those various personnel-related pages to reflect those additional 2 positions. B2 is simply a title change on a WRC position, a reclassification. They just had a title change. There's no financial impact. Again, but we're just reflecting the fact that the page will be updated for the adopted book with the new title. Now with section C, we have two new items. Item C8 is to reflect additional cleanup that was necessary because of the economic development reorganization. There were department ID changes to change within the Business Finance Corporation Personnel Special Revenue Fund. So it just changes the department ID. And also it has a minor, roughly $2,000 amount that was to update their salary forecast for that special revenue fund. So no impact to the general fund. And the last adjustment since the last packet was item C9, which was a submission by board staff to add $30,000 a year to the Board of Commissioners budget for the literacy project line item.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on this? Commissioner Powell?
I just wanted to know, eventually, will this be on our system too? Will this go on there, or is it a reason why we always have to get a hard copy from you?
So it's just dependent on the time of when we get the board minutes. So if we have, for the budget wrap-up, it depends on if we have additional items and the timing in which we get that to be able to publish it.
Sounds like some of my commissioners like the packet, so I'll...
Well, we can do both.
Yeah, I
No,
like
we
the
can do
packet on the
both.
amendments.
Okay.
I do too. I think it's easier to look at the amendments.
Oh, no, you did. I just...
So we're voting, right, to receive and file? Okay. All right, well, we're going to take a vote. Oh,
If I
excuse
can
me.
flag one more thing, Madam Chair.
Sure.
So as I understand it, in past years, you would have had a resolution come to you already on the general salary increase for
A report.
non-represented
A report from-
employees. This year, because, it's a major year for contract negotiations with most of our unions, that process is a bit delayed just because we want to be as thoughtful as possible in terms of the equity between represented and non-represented employees. So we do intend to bring that to Lago and this committee, the full board, within the next month, but, it'll be an action separate from this next step for the Finance Committee. So I just wanted to flag that.
So we'll be
thank
after
you.
the budget and then we'll amend it after we vote on the budget?
I think it can kind of happen on parallel tracks, and then the results of any amendments that come out of that report would get built into the adopted budget.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, then we need to prompt the vote, right? Okay.
Good.
Getting there.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. If there is there any other business to come before the board? Commissioner Moss?
It's like Charlie Brown.
Yeah, I would like to know where are we at on our initiative to bring the Board of Commissioners wing into ADA compliance with our facilities? Just where are we at on that?
On the restroom piece of it that you and I
All of
talked
it,
about?
whatever.
All of
I
it?
mean, I'm using the word facilities because it may be more or less than obviously the restrooms, which are part of it.
I believe they are going to come back to us on the 17th of September with a plan.
Who's they?
Facilities.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
That's what I've been told.
Great.
Is that how you know it? The facilities is going to come back with a proposal on ADA compliance by the 17th?
They are, yes,
Okay.
and then a detailed report in October.
Okay.
Great. Can I just throw in, this is a personal thing. We take this building and everything for granted, but if you really look at it, this is basically a masterpiece of mid-century architecture. It really is. You don't think of it until you really go around it. And you look in the Board of Commissioners in the auditorium. This is really architecturally quite a gem, and it's somehow managed to survive since 1963. I mean, we put stuff in and out. And so I would very much hope that as we look to whatever it is we want to do, that we make as little disturbance as we can to the overall architectural integrity of what really is kind of I won't say historic, but it's piece of architectural mid-century heritage. And we need to recognize that this is not just something that we threw up and we're going to knock down. So I would like, as we are looking at whatever plan it is to do whatever we're going to do, as we need to update it, because let's face it, it's been 31 years since the bloody ADA has been passed. Let's get it done. However, let's not lose sight of the fact that this is an historically and architecturally significant building. Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Moss. Commissioner Powell?
I just want to share with my commissioners, Janet Jackson is not doing well, and I just wanted to share with everybody to just pray for her and keep her in positives with us. But she did receive she caught COVID, and it's been challenging with her. So
Is she home though?
yeah, she's at home though.
Okay.
She's at home. So I just wanted to share with our commissioners, just keep her in our prayers, y'all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about calling her, but I calling her, disturb her.
Just text her. Like I didn't call her. I text her.
That's a
Yeah,
good
just
idea.
text her.
Okay,
But I just
good
wanted to. We all a family, so I just wanted to.
Thank you.
Put that out
I
there.
heard that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I think she's at home though. Yeah.
I was, on your point, I was going through some old photographs for this presentation, and I found a photograph of the first official act that took place in the auditorium here, and it was the swearing in of Judge Pratt and Judge Zim that year. So, and my dad did the swearing in. So
I'm sure your dad
I
was
actually have 2 copies of that picture. I thought I might bring one, and because it is on the back, it says the first official act in the auditorium. So
Nice.
yeah, so I'll bring one in, and we can. I don't need to keep it in my box,
Frame it.
Bring it and put it up somewhere. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Commissioner Charles and then Commissioner Powell.
Yeah.
We almost tried it. I'm just saying.
With regards to other business, I'm not sure if it's been brought up, and it's just something I didn't hear, but what is the process with the census? I'm already getting questions from constituents giving us kudos for growing in the county, and I'm like, how do you know that? I haven't seen anything. So is there something going on already, and when will we get some feedback? Because I'm imagining finance is involved.
So I'm the chair of the report. I'm the chair.
Okay.
So just so you all know, at least right now, we have received the census numbers. They are still working on the, like detailed numbers to send them to us. However, we are ahead as far as Oakland County, as far as the, the system and stuff. We just did a brief training. What was that? Like Monday? Yeah, it was Monday, right?
Yeah.
We just did a brief training on the data and the stuff that we're to kind of start doing the reapportionment. But as of right now, and Kowal, you can help me. I know that we've received it, but they're still working on detailing it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're waiting on.
That's
correct? Great. So I'm doing
I think
okay?
we know overall the county is growing, approximately 73,000 people?
Yep.
As far as each community?
We don't know
I
that
don't think we know
exact.
that.
I know
Okay.
Pontiac, I know Coulter did give congratulations to Pontiac, because Pontiac has been struggling over the years. We had a little increase, but that's just where we're at. So they're still working on finalizing the data so that we can start doing the actual apportionment.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mike Anderson.
Okay.
So to
Mike?
build off Commissioner Powell's comments, the preliminary data has been delivered to the county. What starts our clock is the data that's given by the Secretary of State. And then the reapportionment committee will go through, like I said, or like she mentioned, they're already getting training on the new ESRI system to redistrict the various districts within the county.
Thanks for your help.
But once they do receive that from the Secretary of State, they do have a 60-day window to come up with a report. And that's what that reapportionment committee is tasked to do by the board, as per, I believe it's the state of Michigan statutes. So we are following the law, and we just are getting prepared so that when the Secretary of State does deliver that data, that we can hit the ground running and have the full 60 days to really utilize that system to come up with some good lines for the county commissioners and everybody else. So.
And just to let you know, I think they are charging us this round to have community discussions also in this reapportionment, correct, Kowal? I think that was something that the lady.
I'm sorry, say it again?
So remember the young lady was stating that the community component where they'll be able to chime in. You know how the state has had their meetings? There, because we're the only ones that's redistricting in Michigan, we're supposed to kind of do something similar to that. I know we're in still discussions of that. So in the meantime, Commissioner Charles, you could just let them know that there may be some community involvement, but we're still in details of discussing all of
There's a
that.
public comment period.
Yeah, it was like a public comment period.
Yeah, that's statutory, has to be.
Okay, so yes, they'll have a time to be able to do public comments with us.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Moss, did you have a comment or a question? Okay. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? I call the meeting of the Finance Committee adjourned at 1:02.